that the focus of this year's webinar series is strategies for business sustainability. This is because we know how it is critical, to keep our businesses a going concern, especially in these uncertain times. My name is Tarinho Benwari. I'm the team lead, Human Capital Business Unit of Wider Perspectives Limited. Today I'm here with Onyekachi Udensi, my colleague. She is the team lead of our special projects and conferences. She will be my co-host for today's webinar. To ensure that our time here in this webinar is meaningful, we would like to establish some housekeeping. This will guide us as we progress in today's webinar. We would like you to utilize the question and answer section of this webinar. If you have questions, kindly use the question and answer section to drop in your questions. We would attend to them in due course. If you have some comments, some feedback, relevant feedback that you want to share with us in course of the webinar, we'd like you to use the chat room. And then we want to encourage active participation and active listening. Also, we'd like to remind you that, or inform you that this webinar is being streamed live on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you are watching or you are viewing us from Facebook or YouTube, you can drop your questions using the comment box. We'll pick them and attend to them as we progress into the webinar. We're also recording these events. And we will share the recording on our social media handle. We would show you our social media, the links to our social media handles, so you can refer to it after today if you need to make references to today's webinar and previous webinars we've organized in Wider Perspectives Limited. We would like to launch a poll. This poll is to help us understand how you, our audience, are leveraging technology for your business operations and processes. It's going to be a short one for 2 minutes. So we would like you to give us your feedback as we launch the poll. All right. In case you're just coming in to this webinar, we had a little challenge with launching the poll earlier announced, and the technical team is trying to put that in place. However, we would carry on with the program, and I would like to introduce the key discussant for today's webinar. His name is Mr. Emeka Azuka Okoye. Azuka Okoye is a semantic architect and knowledge engineer. He's with Semantics Limited, a company that makes people, organizations, and cities smarter using semantic technologies for contextual data modeling, knowledge representation, and ontology engineering to exploit opportunities possessed by artificial intelligence, analytics, machine learning for digital transformation that will enable them to be data-driven. For the past 25 years, he has been at the forefront of technology and innovation in Nigeria. He co-founded the earliest startup called ngex.com to design the first framework for publishing open election data to building cognitive solutions like knowledge graphs for public sector corruption. His experience has embraced a breadth of technologies culminating today in the semantic web and artificial intelligence world, with its primary focus being solution design, engineering, and product development, while working with a cross-section of professionals across various cultures in Africa and Europe, with the focus of solving problems at complex level. He has been listed among the top 20 most influential technology people in Africa in 2013 by South Africa IT News blog, and also among the global top 20 mobile commerce, mobile payments, mobile banking, and mobile money influencers in social media by
business practices, especially when it comes to, what I had said initially about society and environment. So we call business society, we call business sustainability as ESG. ESG means environmental, social, and governance effort. So it's a key term, ESG. Anywhere you see business sustainability, there's always something on ESG. So we should take note of that. Environmental, social, and governance effort. Okay. So how can we leverage technology? I'm going to talk on three parts to that. First part is efficiency. Technology can be used to improve efficiency in businesses. I'll give you, let me use an example. Google. Google uses artificial intelligence to consume less energy, cut energy bills, and reduce emissions. Now you can see in trying to achieve their business goals, they're not trying to degrade the environment, and they're not trying to make people around them very uncomfortable. So one of his team has been able to use AI to reduce the amount of energy for cooling in their data centers by up to 40%. Now, these are the kind of things that make everybody in a business very happy. When I mean everybody, every stakeholder. So that's the investors, employees, consumers, and so on. So the company is using machine learning algorithms to harness the power of wind energy by predicting wind output 36 hours in advance and delivering optimal hourly delivery commitments to the power grid. So they estimate the wind power they will generate and move and go to clean energy. So they can switch to clean energy at its optimal delivery time. Okay, so you see that they are enforcing green energy, reducing greenhouse emission, which is very powerful. All right, so that's one way they are improving the environment. So I go to the second example, which is about using technology to reduce risk. The climate risk analysis industry is also on the rise. Okay, a company called Jupiter Intelligence raised 23 million to expand its business into new areas like wildfire risk assessment for companies and for government. So companies are using supercomputers to now analyze the climate change risk and inform business decisions. Okay. And they also create climate model data sets that help zero in on extreme weather risk. So they use data to determine how climate change will affect his business and ensure the safety of his employees, customers, and communities around them. So this is another good point of, making sure combining both the environmental, social in one piece, and with governance. All right. So we have now talked on 2, but the third option now, I want to deal with different technology. Let me just list different technologies we can use in our different businesses to enforce ESG effort. So that's the third part. So I'm going to just list like 5 technologies, and I'll just briefly talk on them. So the first one is blockchain. So blockchain has had major impact on energy, financial services, and supply chain. But let me emphasize on the supply chain. So we are particular about what is used in production of items. We want to be sure that we are not using, take for instance, blood. We've heard the case of blood diamond. So when people kill people and take their mineral rights and then use it for profit. So blood diamond is for diamond. So we will have for other things. We don't want for instance, raw materials to come from a Boko Haram territory, for instance. That's like, that would mean like supporting Boko Haram effort. So what blockchain does is to create a transparent and efficient way of exposing the supply chain, so we can know where each individual items come from. So it doesn't come from a place where there are environmental issues, or where people are enslaving or killing people and all that. So blockchain does that. So it brings transparency. The second one I want to talk about is data mining. So data mining also gives insight into the ESG risk and opportunities. So we'll know what we are doing does not have any risk concerning our environmental effort or societal effort. So you use data mining to check the data, your data, to make sure that there's no conflict. Okay. The third one is AI, artificial intelligence. We can use it to predict and model sustainable initiatives to see how their potential to transform the company, So we sift through large data to make sure that what the company is doing is not in conflict. Another technology, again, is Internet of Things. The Internet of Things can contribute by improving quality of life via e-sensors, so that we can build better things like, smart cities, cleaner energy, and it will also show opportunities of opportunities for companies to positively contribute to sustainability. And then the last technology is predictive analytics. The top speed rate at which data is produced and analyzed in the future means that company will enhance their decision-making tools and support systems to build their insight and structure their governance. Okay, especially when it comes to these environmental, societal governance issues. So it means that as data is being produced by the company, they will make sure that it falls within their sustainability strategy and make sure that it doesn't come in conflict. So that's all for the technology relating to business sustainability.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Koye. One thing I, picked out from this discussion is the fact that for businesses to be sustainable, they need to practice sustainable practices in their businesses, and this is key. So having mentioned 5 technology areas that businesses can leverage on, we would like you to, especially in this time of COVID, in this pandemic, what strategic steps would you recommend for businesses to maximize, technologies for their sustainabilities?
Okay, so there are like 6 principles that we can follow, especially in this digital age and post-COVID. So I'll just briefly run through them. First one is to understand how the activities of your company or business create or reduce societal value by analyzing the types of activities. So the activities, the outcomes, and the social, environmental, and economic impacts of the business. So we are supposed to have a matrix that will, look into, how does it affect the society. You can't just build businesses and just run with it. You might be create a lot of pains, even to the extent of killing people. For instance, you are pouring waste into the river that supplies water to the community. You are indirectly trying to kill them. So these are things that we in our climate, we unregulated in business sectors don't take these things very seriously. And this is where communities tend to act against businesses. We never take this sustainability very seriously. So that's the first one. We need to understand how the activities of our companies and businesses create or reduce the value. So we should have a matrix where we'll take uh, we take uh, 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 we take value of what we are doing right now so that we can be motivated and compelled to improve. All right. Now, the second one will be rethink your products and services. For instance, like usage and design, and then understand the conflicting objectives. So when you are done with the first part, which is about the activities, you now think about your products and services. And just see how, under that same matrix. So your matrix will be, environment, social, and governance, and see how it does impact uh, on your sustainability strategy. So if not, then, you are motivated to fix it. The third one is engage strategically with your value chain stakeholders. Now, this is very, very important. So when we talk of value chain stakeholders, we are talking about, all your suppliers, all your distributors, your consumers, your investors, and even the people around your area, your community. Anybody that you think is affected by the business, you need to meet them and talk about how your business is adding value to them or creating value to them. Even your neighbor has to make sure, you have to make sure your neighbor sees value in what you're doing. Because if it doesn't, then there's a problem. So we need to engage, with a lot of people on this. So on the fourth one is about sharing economic value, economic wealth, and develop markets in which circular economy principles apply. Okay, so a lot of us does business, and we are all about making sure our products leave our business. At times, we don't really care about how people are using the product, how people are shipping, the kind of services they render at the last mile, and then whether the people in your value chain are actually creating wealth for themselves. The truth of the matter is that if they don't create value or wealth for themselves, they will shortchange you. So you really need to know whether, if at the point at which they are shortchanging you, they are not creating a problem in the society and the environment. Like for instance, misusing your product. A good example of this is what is it called? This drug that the youths are taking. It has skipped off my head.
Tramadol.
This. Sorry.
Tramadol.
Yes, tramadol. Okay, so that's a classic example. If we know the usage of tramadol from the factory to the end user, if you don't take if you don't really take your stakeholders or people in your value chain seriously, they will divert the use of tramadol, and it becomes very harmful in society. So we have seen how tramadol have moved away from the value chain and created societal problem. And we saw how the government reacted and made sure that in the industries or the businesses are brought to order. And we have all seen how those industries change their governance, to make sure that this doesn't happen. So this is a very classic example. And you can see that if you can now see how business sustainability can affect your business. So if you don't take it seriously, your business will go down. So that tramadol is a classic example, okay? And to make sure that, and also that if people don't get the real value they expected or the wealth they expected to get from your product, they will now look for illicit ways to make money. So it affects you. So it's not all about the product leaving your factory. It's all about making sure that your sustainability strategy is followed properly. Okay. And then the fifth one is create the management information needed to drive these issues in the operational activities of your business. So it's basically, creating systems, processes, and having an information system that will give you visibility into these things so that you can nip them at the bud when they deviate. So emphasizing on the fourth one I was talking about, you need to have visibility in every part of your business. So that's the beauty of using technology to run your business. And then finally, build capabilities and train employees to develop what could be called implicit sustainability managers. So managing your sustainability goals and strategy shouldn't be for only top management, but imbibe that culture into everybody so that everybody is looking out for. Remember again, in the tramadol issue, managers inside the companies were the ones conniving with distributors to move the product away from the chain. So you see, you need to make sure that your businesses, your employees understand this, the implication, and all that. So all these 6 steps or principles require a strategy designed to pursue a sustainable balance of value creation with your customers, suppliers, and society. We want to emphasize that the strategy is not intended to turn businesses into selfless organizations that disregard revenue profitability and performance management. But it's just for us to be more responsible. Having revenues, being profitable, has nothing to do with responsibility, societal responsibility. Okay, so businesses with a sustainability strategy regard balanced value creation as a key imperative for their long-term viability.
Hello, Mr. Koyi, are you still on? Your camera is frozen.
Of their business model and their social license. That's sustainability.
All right, thank you, Mr. Koye. One thing I've picked out from all you've said, especially highlighting the 6 strategic steps, to maximize technology for business sustainability, is the fact that managing sustainability should be the responsibility for all. So everybody needs to be involved. It's not just for the executives, the CEO, or the managers. Everybody in the business should be responsible for managing sustainability in the business. These days, there's a lot of talk about data analytics, and we want you to tell us a bit about data analytics and how data analytics can be used to, drive business sustainability, especially now in this COVID era that we're in.
All right. So, what is so let's talk about data analytics first. So what is data analytics? So data analytics is a process of uncovering patterns in raw data, to extract valuable insights and to draw conclusions en route to affecting business decisions and productivity. It's really key we understand all these terms that we've used. So it's a process of uncovering patterns in raw data to extract valuable insights. So insights and or to draw conclusions en route to affecting business decisions and productivity. Okay, so now how can this data analytics shape business sustainability for companies? So we have a lot of large data because this is the era of big data. So we have data on ESG issues coming from different sources. So number one source is news. We have a lot of newspapers online, government regulations and their announcements, which at times you can see it in news, rankings and awards by NGOs, people's comments on social media, and companies' own reports. Like I've said, a lot of companies put their sustainability reports in their financial report. So this information, they are hard to track. They are all over the place. They are abundant. It changes quickly. It comes in different formats. Okay, so data analytics technologies can address these challenges. Already, services can identify ESG issues, which are that are material to companies, flag risk, benchmark a company's sustainability reporting against competitors, monitor media references to those strategic ones, and analyze sustainability best practices. Data analytics approaches this business intelligence also have its own pitfall because data can be unreliable or can distract companies from answering questions that are more important but harder to answer. Okay, so there are pros and cons about it, but a key technology in making all this happen is what we call the natural language processing. So with that, we can process large amount of text and find out key sustainability values and entities and use it to benchmark what our business is doing. Okay, the technology is already there. Data science can handle everything in this. Even part of my job, I do competitors sustainability report for an organization. So what we are doing is everything there are 2 or 3 of their competitors have done in that sustainability space, they try to compare. And we do this using data analytics, turning what we call unstructured data into structured data and being able to make comparison and all that. Now, a pitfall of this is that, again, some companies do lie about their sustainability effort. And sometimes some people tend to copy sustainability effort they did 10 years ago and claim that they are still doing it when they're not doing it. Data can't help you at that point, but because that's one of the things that I have noticed is that companies keep repeating a major aspect of their sustainability report, making it as if that they are still doing those same things. But again, that's outside what data analytics would handle. Data analytics will just handle everything that is inside the data. So with this, you can, use it to improve your sustainability strategy or plan, and make you better. So data analytics is an awesome tool that any forward-looking company should embrace.
Thank you very much, Mr. Koye. In case you're just joining us in this webinar, we're discussing on leveraging technology for business sustainability. And key discussant today is Mr. Emeka Azoka Okoye, a semantic web architect and knowledge scientist who has been in the forefront of technology and innovation in Nigeria. We would like you to share your questions using the Q&A section. If you have questions you would like Mr. Okoye to address in this webinar, please use the Q&A section to drop your questions, and we will take those questions in due course and then we'll respond to them. All right, moving forward on this, the term digital intelligence, it's becoming increasingly relevant today, especially with the advent of COVID there's now a strong need for every organization to embrace technology, to be on the virtual space and so on. How can businesses, develop this business intelligence? First, you tell us what it is, and how can businesses develop the digital intelligence, in their pursuit to sustainability?
All right. Okay. So this is something that we need to explain, because sometimes definitions doesn't really pass the message. Because now we hear a lot about artificial intelligence, and people still get confused, but forgetting that there is a key word in those 2 words, and that's intelligence. So if you understand intelligence, then you understand AI. That's the thing. So let me explain human intelligence. Intelligence brings together thought processes that make it possible to understand, learn, and adapt. Is key that we understand this thing, that intelligence is that processes that make it possible for us to understand, learn, and adapt. So it's characterized by several abilities, especially cognitive, that allow human beings to apply logic and adapt to new situations. Again, thought processes that make it possible to understand, learn, and adapt. And it's characterized by several abilities, including cognitive abilities, that allow humans to apply logic and adapt to new situations. It also includes the ability to solve problems, make decisions, and memorize information. For more than a century, the psychology field has used certain metrics to evaluate these abilities. And ultimately, it arrived at one, which we call the human intelligence quotient, which is IQ. Okay, so we know people with high IQ have the capabilities, right, to solve problems, make decisions, memorize information, apply logic, and adapt to new situations, and understand. Okay, so now let's remove the human and put digital. So it's digital intelligence. So it now becomes easier to understand. So digital intelligence is the ability to acquire and apply new knowledge and skills related to digital technologies, okay? Whether social, mobile, analytics, cloud, cybersecurity. More than just the ability to use technology, it addresses the what, why, where, when, who, how, and how much of this technology can improve our operational efficiency and our outcomes. So digital intelligence is fundamentally about our relationship with technology, and just as emotional intelligence is about relationship with others. Okay, so to be clear, digital intelligence is about the use of digital technologies at the exclusion of human ability. Rather, it is about relative strengths of both people and technology and how we can capitalize on this trend. So these days now we talk of the human-machine interaction, and it's supposed to, like, machines are supposed to make humans smarter. We call it augmented intelligence. Is a field that I'm very involved in. So machines are not meant to take over us, but rather to make us smarter, make us look better. Okay. So digital intelligence is a key competence for the future of work, and also for business sustainability for both individuals and organizations, in addition to more traditional business skills. So it now gets clearer how it works in the business sustainability aspect, because it means that we can learn and we can understand, learn and adapt. So because everything now is online, remember what we said in the previous question, data concerning business sustainability are all online. Most of them, everybody's reporting, the news is reporting. Human beings in communities that have environmental issues are now reporting online, social media, name it. So there's so much happening. So it is key that digital intelligence matters. Companies need to start building their digital intelligence quotient. That's that same ability to learn, adapt, solve problems, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So that their business sustainability plan or outcome or impact is improved, because they will keep understanding, learning, adapting, that cycle. Okay? Okay, so it's also digital intelligence is also part of globalization of markets, digitalization of work and organization, and continued deployment of the fourth industrial revolution. So it follows other such phenomenon as, like the Internet of Things, big data, AI, blockchain, quantum computing, that are now becoming infused in our lives. So, we don't talk too much. I'm actually impressed that, this forum is talking about digital intelligence. It's not something that we talk about generally, but it's key that organizations develop their digital intelligence among their employees. And more easily, it addresses new markets by taking up opportunities of new digital transformation, because when your employees get new capabilities, they open up, they can see new opportunities and push the companies to explore those opportunities. So internally, an organization with high digital intelligence can develop cross collaboration with its teams and express talents and new ideas. So, ideas work better, on the digital platform. It can be pushed around, it can be compared easily, it can be expressed easily, unlike in a non-digital way, offline. So it's key that we understand that companies' digital intelligence quotient, called DQ, needs to be high. So every organization needs to go for high DQs. Okay. So that's the key about
digital intelligence.
Yeah. No. This DQ actually. But let me just briefly mention how organizations can raise their DQ, just briefly. One, digital skills assessment. So you assess your digital skills so that you can find gaps, and then where it needs to be improved. Then you need a learning strategy. Second step, learning strategy, so that they can learn skill set needed to match your strategic goals. They have to match your strategic goals. Then, thirdly, design individual learning plans. So the second part is a collaborative learning strategy to match your goals. Then, because every employee has different strengths, different areas of focus, you design individual learning plans for them, because your organization is diverse. Okay. Fourthly is that they promote the culture of learning as you work. So you learn as you work. Remember, the things you are learning are supposed to be things useful in the organization. So as you are learning, you are doing something that is useful to the organization. And lastly, harness your internal potential. So institute things like culture of mentorship, do set up digital skills initiatives and events, do like hackathons inside your workplace, and infuse the spirit of discovery and innovation also in your workplace. All right. So organizations that understand the necessity of digital transformation to promote engagement and business sustainability readily respond to customers' evolving needs and expectations. All right. So it just makes you agile. It's one of the things that promote agility in organization.
Thank you very much, Mr. Koye. So we would like to take a question from the audience, and I'll read the question out so you can give a response to it. Okay, they just took up the questions. All right, what the audience wanted was for you to recommend tools, data analytics tools that businesses that are planning to scale up can leverage on for their businesses.
Come again?
Someone dropped a question and he wants to know, or he rather wants you to recommend for small businesses that are, planning to scale their business, planning scale up for their business. What
Yes.
analytic tools would you want to recommend? Data analytic tools you want to recommend for them at that level of their business?
If they want to scale their business.
Yes, they want to scale their business.
The question is not too clear. Okay, so let me say this. I need to understand where they are presently on technology exploitation. So what tools are they using presently? It does help because a company that doesn't have, for instance, a management information system will be hard to move directly into data analytics. Okay, there has to be some form of way you use, some way they use information in the organization. Okay. If the question is about how do you exploit data, then that's a different question. So business analytics is what I will always tell organizations to embrace so that they can start exploiting value from big data. But the generic answer is employ a data scientist, build a roadmap. When you don't have a plan or what you want to do with data, it will fail. Okay, you have to have a plan, your expectation. So that's why a roadmap is key, because if not,
all right, okay, Mr. Koye, can I just the question is now up, so let me just read it exactly so you understand what the person actually is asking. Okay, so it says recommend analytics platform or tool that a business, a beginner who is interested in starting out in this area, recommend a platform or an analytics tool that a beginner can use.
Okay.
Okay. You understand it?
Okay, yeah. So simple. Just use Python. Okay. It's as simple. Don't, Python is good enough. You don't need a big platform. I'm not going to tell you to go and download Apache Spark. For a beginner, start with Python. Python has a lot of libraries you can use for data analytics. And depending on the part of analytics, so data analytics is wide. So it's which part do you want to do natural language processing? If it's based on everything that I've said here, comes to what I had said initially about analytics mentioned in today's program are mostly natural language processing. And you can do that with a library called Spacey or NLTK or Stanford NLP. These are the three most popular NLP libraries on Python. Okay, you can start from that point. This helps you to move, start getting data from unstructured raw data sets. So unstructured data sets are data sets that don't have, there's no structure, there are no rows, there are no columns, they're just stories, like newspaper stories, like data and all that. So NLP helps that. But you need to do a lot of reading, a lot of reading to, get that. Okay, but it's not hard. I want to say this. It is not hard. It is simple. Just read up. There are a lot of blogs you can read up. I will advise the person to join Data Science Nigeria. Data Science Nigeria is a community of data scientists in Nigeria. It's good to come in there and act as a fool and ask questions, because this is something we don't do in Nigeria. Everybody tries to want to be like they know everything. It hasn't helped us. It's one of the reasons why we're in this mess today. So you need to act as a fool and ask question. I will keep saying this. Ask question, okay? That's the way we are going to learn. At my age, I still ask question. I'm still learning. All right? So that's it.
All
Just
right.
Python. Python is enough. You don't need anything sophisticated, and you do data science. Python is all you need to also do artificial intelligence. So when you start mastering it, then there are open source tools that you can download when you are very comfortable to make things easier for you. But I will always advise start with Python, or if you're already starting to use R, there's another language for data science called R. You can also use it. They are both powerful. Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Koye, I would like you to just respond to this one question in just a minute, in 1 minute, because of time. Someone is asking, he wants to know what is semantic ability programs. Did you get me?
Semantic?
Hello? Yes, what is semantic architecture? Can it be applied to sustainability program? In just 2 minutes, we'd like you to just respond to this.
Okay, so let me explain semantic. I don't know whether 2 minutes will be enough, maybe like 4 minutes. Okay, so let me start from, there are two approaches to artificial intelligence. Now I'm going to give you a gem, there are two approaches. Now look at the language approaches, right, of artificial intelligence. One approach, machine learning. I didn't say type. This is a misconception. So if you do machine learning, it doesn't mean that it's going to be AI. But machine learning can take you to AI. So two approaches, machine learning. Second approach, knowledge representation and reasoning. There are only two approaches to AI, okay? Machine learning, knowledge representation, and reasoning. Now, under knowledge representation and reasoning, you can use semantic technology to represent knowledge and to reason, okay? Remember, one of the things about intelligence we talked about is using logic and reasoning about it. So that's what semantic technology does. Semantic means meaning. So it represents meaning, which is knowledge, and then you can apply logic and reasoning and derive new insight. Okay? So now, semantic architecture is talking about the data model that represents meaning or represents knowledge. That data model is called ontology. Ontology in psychology is a way to represent what exists. It's a psychological term that represents what exists. Remember that intelligence is not science. Intelligence is also psychology. So semantic architecture is about ontology, using it to represent what exists, then using that, applying logic and reasoning to derive new insights, new meaning, new facts. So that's what semantic technology is all about. Was that 2 minutes?
Thank you very much, Mr. Koye. Okay, I'm sure that in this short while we've been able to share some insights, on how we can leverage on technology. At this point, we would like to get some feedback from our audience. We want to launch an evaluation to give us feedback so far. What new thing you've learned? How has the information received from this webinar, impacted your knowledge, and how you intend to apply some of these things as you leave here for your business? So we're going to launch the evaluation, and we would like you to give us your feedback. This would also help us to improve our subsequent webinars that we'll be featuring. So that will come up, and then we would like your feedback on it. So. All right, while we wait for that, okay, it's already up. So we'll just take 2 minutes to quickly give feedback on this. I'm sure we can all see the evaluation poll. Just okay, 2%. All right.
Okay, there's a question I see here.
Okay.
How can small business generate reliable data from which they leverage to improve their productivity?
Okay.
So this is where management information systems are. So every process in your organization needs to be using data, generating data, whether sales, customer interaction. Okay, let me take you back to what we call the market leadership principle. Market leadership principle says every business's main have three main focus. One, customer intimacy. Second, market expanding. Okay, now in these three aspects, let me see this. Okay, so in these three aspects, customer intimacy, your interaction with your customers should generate data, and from that data, you can see where you're not doing well. You can see how you can improve, your gaps. One thing that everybody needs to understand is that when customers are very are complaining or have issues, you should actually be thankful, because these are opportunities to showcase your capabilities of solving problems. When your customers are telling you that everything is okay, most all your customers are telling you that everything is okay, there's something wrong. Okay, you're meant to solve problems, right? So you should make sure that your problems are solved. Their problems are solved. So it's key. So there has to be a customer data. Any customer you serve, customer data based on what you have supplied to them, what they have subscribed to you, how they've used your service, blah, 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 blah. Then your feedback and everything. So there is data on the transaction, and there's data for you to improve yourself. Secondly, markets. Every business needs market. So you need to understand where you are in the market, see how you're performing in the market. You can see that from your business transactions. Then you can use that information and other information elsewhere to derive how you need to improve yourself in the market, how you want to improve the market, your performance in the market, and all that, including new markets. Then the third part is operational expense. Again, you have data on how much your overheads are. You need to improve. You want to make sure that you are reducing the cost of your generator, electricity, blah, blah, blah. Data, if you capture data in each of these processes, you can use that data to improve your business. I hope that answers the question.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Koye. So, by way of wrapping up on the discussion, we would like you to give your final words to our audience. Hello, Mr. Koye, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. Wait.
Okay, we're wrapping up with the discussion, and we'd
Okay.
like you to share your final words with our audience.
Okay, final word.
Yes.
Okay, so for businesses, okay, so I'm very strong on data. Um, uh, Businesses need to take data very, very seriously. Data can make it easy for you to start, make you run an efficient business, an agile business, and a customer-friendly business. If you can map every activity you do in your business on data, even simple spreadsheet. If you're a small company, you don't need very expensive technology tools. You just map everything on spreadsheets. Customers, sales, customers' complaints, customer performance. Just ask your customer how are they using your product or service. Put the feedback on a spreadsheet. It's a good starter if you don't have money to pay for technology. It's cumbersome, but it works. If you have money, pay a consultant. It's always good. But again, you have to be very careful because some people is all talk. Um, they would mislead you, right? Some people know how to speak the language, but they don't know how to do this, walk the talk. So I always tell people, pay heavily for consultants, reliable, make investigation before you start dealing with them. So key thing, use data for your business. It's very key. Um, if you can't afford software, use a spreadsheet and handle on these key three market leadership uh, principles: customers, market, and operating expense. Use data to manage these things and improve. So we need to improve customer intimacy so that they'll come back and uh, 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 come back and pay for your service. You need to expand your market so that your reach widens. That's more income for you. Reduce your expense, your bottom line increases. So it's very easy to use data to achieve this thing. So please, it's not easy out there. Post-COVID is revealing so much. Post-COVID reveals that we need data. If you're not using data, start today. Okay? So I wish everyone the best of luck in all your endeavors. It's not easy, but do your best and remain blessed, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Koye. It was really insightful. I earlier mentioned that this webinar is recorded, and we'll share the recordings on our social media handle. Previous webinars would also be on our platform. So on the screen, you would see the links to our various social media handles. We would like you to please, after this webinar, you can refer to these places, these locations to see the recording of today's webinar. All right, so thank you once again, Mr. Koye, for the insightful webinar today. The learnings, I'm sure our audience would put to practice. We also want to thank our audience, for making this webinar interactive. We've seen some of your questions and the comments on the chat box, and they are valuable. We want to thank you especially. It was good having all of you here with us. All right, so we'll quickly want to update you on our upcoming programs as we wrap up. The webinar is a monthly event which holds every third Tuesday of the month. Please join us for the next webinar, and it's scheduled for the 15th of September 2020. Details will be communicated to you. Our 5th Business Linkage Forum, Port Harcourt, is coming up on the 27th of August, next week, Thursday. we're inviting all of you to come and participate in this program. Further information would be on our social media handles. As you go to our social media handles, you will see the details of upcoming programs. Also, our CBN Agribusiness Small and Medium Enterprise Investment Scheme Training, the AXMIS training, will commence on the 24th of August and last for 5 days. We invite you to register if you need to scale up your business. It is a funding scheme, and I'm sure some of us would like to leverage on it. So we're inviting you to take leverage on these opportunities. Once again, we want to say thank you on behalf of the management of Wider Perspectives Limited. I want to thank Mr. Emeka Azuka Okoye for making our time to share your wealth of experience. And for our esteemed audience, we want to say thank you. And we hope that you're going to enjoy the rest of today. Thank you very much. God bless.
Or just in case some people want to, they can link up with me on Twitter if they want. I talk about technology, and so I'm Emeka Okoye. So on Twitter, you can engage if you want, to know more about some of the things I've talked about, and how technology can be exploited in small and medium-sized businesses. So on Twitter, I'm Emeka Okoye. So you guys can ask questions, and I will tell you freely how you can go about things.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, bye everyone.